Jackie, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I am too. And you and I had a conversation before, and I loved our conversation so much and what you're doing. And I was so excited to have you come back on now and actually do the interview because honestly, we could have probably just rolled then and it could have been fine as an interview.
Thank you. It was great talking with you too.
Well,
Yeah.
introduce yourself to everybody and give everybody a little bit of background on yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Jacque Leonard, and I am the founder, CEO of Roux Collective. And Roux Collective is a blended kind of a beauty services, boutique setting where we do three different things. Obviously, wellness, of course, and we're situated in Paso Robles, California, and we're just all about service and showing everybody the love. I mean, I guess that's what makes us stand out a little bit differently. I know everybody says that everybody shows everybody a lot of love in their
Not
space,
everybody,
but
but
but we really do. It's what we thrive on.
I love that. Tell
Yeah.
everyone what, within your umbrella, there's
Yeah.
a salon,
Yes.
there's the gift store or,
Yes.
or apparel and gifts. Sounds like more apparel. And then what's the third
Yeah.
component?
Yeah. So wellness. So we have esthetician, massage therapist. We have an infrared sauna suite. So we really focus on what women really go through, which is they need help. They need to unwind. They need to kind of rejuvenate themselves. And we're kind of connected to health in a way that, we do see a lot of oncologists actually
Oh, wow.
sending patients to use infrared sauna. Like there's this amazing amount of openness, I think, with doctors that are understanding what wellness is all about, really.
The red light, is it red light therapy, correct?
Yeah, infrared.
Infrared. Does that
It's not
help?
like red light can be somewhat similar.
Okay. But it's more in it's because I remember going I've had somebody that had a wellness site that I actually used to go to
Yes.
in Hermosa Beach, and it was
Yes.
cryo machines. She
Mhm.
also had the thermal, and there was something else that she had, and I loved going there because it's true. Like it would be my day to go, and she also had a facialist there, so it'd be my day to go, and you can go do the pods first, and then
Mhm.
go to the facialist, and it was such a lovely, like calming atmosphere. And I think I started going to her right when I started going into menopause, and it was definitely needed at that point.
Yeah, I just had a conversation yesterday with one of our customers, talking about, menopause, perimenopause, and it is all the buzz too. I mean, everyone's talking about it. When
Finally.
when I went through it, there was only Suzanne Summers. I
Yeah.
mean, literally, there was no information, and we just had to struggle through it. And now there's almost too much information. I don't know, that makes it kind of feel confusing, but there's good, solid information out there, and there's so many things that a woman can do, you know.
There was so much not. I know Tam Fadal, if you've read her book, for anybody that's read it, is How to Menopause, and she's been a huge proponent. She actually has a movie that came out, and she's got part two coming out as well. And she's, I think, kind of behind a lot of bringing it out to the forefront and where it's
Yeah.
like a normal conversation because as much money is in the medical field, it should there and as many women that are this age going through this, like it should have been talked about a long time ago, but
I
obviously
mean, look at estrogen. Look at how when I was younger, I mean, I wanted to do bioidentical, and my doctors were like, "Oh, you'll get, it's cancerous." So everything that they knew, that they thought they knew, was never true,
yep,
ever, ever.
yep.
And women just, unfortunately, women, we had to suffer through, we had to suffer through and just try to find our own way. And I was lucky. I was probably 50 by the time I found a natural, excuse me, a natural path. And I'd done research and, I wanted to do a certain protocol. And I got just lucky in my town. My natural path had just moved here from Canada. and gone to her, naturopathy school there. So I thought very open-minded.
Yeah.
She knew everything about hormones. So I just like hit the jackpot, when I was 50.
Well, I think also women have just in general have really learned to advocate for themselves versus
Mhm.
just taking what the doctor says and like,
Oh, for sure.
okay, and really pushing for answers. And so I love
Yeah.
that you have this beautiful space for this.
Yeah.
Tell everyone a little bit about, because you've got an extensive background in salons.
Yeah. So obviously my love, love, love is salon. I mean, when I was very young, I did go to beauty school. I was 15. My
Oh my
father,
God. Wow, that's amazing.
well, I grew up really fast. Um, my father lied to get me in school. Thank you, Dad. I mean, I just remember going, I can't go, I'm not old enough. And he goes, I'll fix it. I had a dad like that. I had a really great dad.
How old were you? Like like how
I
young
was
did
I
they?
was 50, I was 50. Well, I had started school. Oh gosh, I started school when I was living with my father when I was probably 14, 15-ish. And I didn't really like school all that much, and I was a really bad kid.
Mhm.
The black sheep of the family. You name it, I did it.
Yeah.
Um, so I just really wanted to go to beauty school, and I had an affinity for doing hair, doing makeup. I always did my friends, hair and all of that. So he got me into a school, and I did like a part-time school because I was in the ninth grade, I think, eighth or ninth.
Wow.
And so I was able to do that in Santa Maria. Now, give it, I was raised in Los Angeles, where it was pretty cool. I could go to school, I could wear lace-up sandals and short skirts. I go to Santa Maria in 1960, whatever that was, and you had to wear your skirt to the middle of your knee. Um, it was it was tough
Well,
for a young
I guess
girl.
coming from California, from that part of
Yeah.
Southern California where you can kind of
Yeah.
all rules, there are no rules. Like you could
I
just
was in I was in Cowtown in the worst way, not in a good way. So, but I did start school that way, and I got to the point. I moved back to my mother's in LA. I was almost done with school in Van Nuys, California, and I got this job offer, and I was really only 17, and I went to work for a really big wig company. Wigs were really big back then, and I went to work in that industry, and I found that I really liked being in sales and having that one-on-one with people, and you could really feel the satisfaction. And I thought, like, if I cut the wig on her hair and then she didn't like it, she could just take it off and put another wig on. Where if you cut someone's hair and you really mess it up,
yeah.
you've got a nightmare on your hands. So that kind of led me to other beauty companies. I never went back and finished and got my license, but that was okay. I just always loved the beauty industry. So I worked in a lot of retail, lots of retail, little kiosks during that time. And then I think it was after I got married and I had kids, I wanted to go back into the industry. And I saw an ad one day for Sebastian International. And I was living in Pismo. And I thought, oh man, this is a dream job. If you remember Sebastian in the
That
80s
was
and 90s, it
the
was the job to have. It
uh,
was the most creative, amazing. I mean, it was just amazing. So, sent in my resume, never got an answer. Sent my resume again, never got an answer. Called Sebastian. I probably called for 2 weeks in a row. Like I was perfect for that job, and I couldn't get a call back. And one day, someone picked up the phone when I was calling, and I went, "Oh my God, oh my God. Okay, I'm so sorry. I've left so many messages. You probably know who I am." And she goes, "What's your name?" She didn't know anything, nothing. So by my tenaciousness, I think, is why I'm sitting here today. If I
absolutely.
would have never been tenacious, I would
Well,
have said, "Well,
I'd say it started, to be honest, it started like when you went to school because,
yeah."
I know it's funny because first question I used to ask everybody when I first started this 5 years ago was, how old were you with your first job? And
Mm.
truly, you really know the people that are hustlers and that really love working and being part of whatever industry it is, because all of us start, like I started at 15, you
Mhm.
started at 4. I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing to see like how young and how driven a lot of owners are. And
Yeah.
now fast forward. So I would say
Huh.
that started like then. I mean, just the
Oh, it
fact
did. I always
high
worked.
school,
I didn't finish high school.
meaning I knew I liked you because a lot of our
Yeah.
story kind of goes the same. And I love,
Well, and back then it was just horrible. You were just told you're never going to amount to anything. And I always worked. I wanted to make money and be on my own. And my mother finally emancipated me. She just had it with me because she couldn't control me. We were living in the valley at the time. I was hanging out in Laurel Canyon, Topanga Canyon,
wow.
hanging out with Joni Mitchell. I mean, just all that whole scene, just having fun. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I just want to live my life. I don't want to go to school.
I love
This
you.
is what life is school.
It's so cool to me because you're the first person that I've talked to that kind of has gone the same route of life that I have, where I quit high school, I went right into the workforce, and I
Mhm.
just didn't high school. I don't, it wasn't, I can't say it was a bad experience, but it
Yeah.
just did not keep my attention. It didn't, there wasn't something in it that drove me to want more. And I think honestly, like if unless you're a doctor or a lawyer or something that requires like you need that certification all the way through, obviously, as your adulthood, as you go into your career. But I think that the career path that you and I chose,
Mhm.
street smart, I hate
Yep.
but street smart,
Total.
like learning hands-on is, I think, the best education
And
because
the creative process. Like my favorite class in high school was art
yep.
and jewelry.
Ooh, you had a good one.
I did. Yeah. I actually had a jewelry class, and it was just that's all I really wanted to do. Not that I didn't want to learn about I wasn't motivated to really sit down with a history book. Now I'm super motivated. Now I'm all into education. But then it was just a different path. I had to take that creative path, just like you did.
Yeah.
If it's not working, it's not working. You have to listen to your kids and go, okay, what can we do
I
to
mean, I don't
support
think my
you?
mom had a she didn't emancipate me, but I guess by signing it to a waiver for me to go to Japan as a
Oh,
15-year-old without any kind of supervision,
oh, that's
might as well
great.
have an emancipation.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I never really did any major traveling. If I had any regret, I think if I went back, I would say, God, I should have just traveled. Like I could have totally done that, but I just was so like driven in the jobs that I had and the experiences that
Yeah,
I had. I
yeah,
mean, I mean, I was living in the mountains. Well, you know the area, so DeSoto, all the way back into Chatsworth.
yeah.
I was living way, way back there
Wow.
while I was working, and that's when the Manson stuff was going on.
Oh my God.
I mean, we were very, very close to all that, like a half a mile by horse.
Wow.
It was a lot of crazy stuff going on back then.
It's weird. And I just thought about this right now. My first husband and I, he was Fred Siegel's contractor. So we
I was
lived.
going to ask you how you got involved with Fred because I
Well, I met my husband when I was there. I started as a sales girl, and I went in with the resume, and I was hired for the temp store and just kind of grew my way through. But then I met my first husband there, and we lived on Fred's property, and we moved off, and we had found a house that was in the cool it was on, I think, Malibu Canyon, and it was an like the most amazing. It was like a 1920s rockstone cottage, but the historical of that house, the history of that house was some part, but somebody in the Manson group
Mhm.
lived. Him and his wife lived there, and a biker. I guess they were in a biker group, and I guess the husband came home and found her in bed with one of the guys and the Manson guys, and he shot and killed him. So the lore of this house was there was a murder in this house, and but it's like it was such a cool area, and it was so like you could feel the history in those areas, which I'm sure now if you went back to that area of Chatsworth and that like the it's weird. It's almost like when you walk into it, your hair kind of stands up on your like right now, my hair, I'm getting
Yeah.
of it. It's such a crazy
Oh,
time.
when the book came out and the book was written, I did know some of the girls from high school that, shaved their heads. I mean, I wasn't friends, but I knew who they were. I could not read that book.
Yeah, I bet.
I just, it was too close to us. It was really, it was interesting how we're alive and we got through that, just, escaped it somehow. Um,
It's
it's kind of incredible.
I love, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I love this conversation with you because I
Yeah.
mean, obviously we're kind of veering off it, but just to
Yeah.
know like your background. So now bring us back to speed with I love the fact that you're tenacious and you kept calling, which speaks volumes for
Oh
so
yeah,
many
my
people.
job at Sebastian. I finally get hired. And it was so funny. The interviewer was in Pismo Beach that day and she interviewed me and she asked me all these hard questions that you get asked, in sales, sell me this pin, do this, I just easily just no problem. I can sell you a pin. She really liked me. She didn't hire me at the time. She said, I'm going to get back to you. And I'm like, why did she not hire me on the spot? So I get a call 10 minutes later after I get home, and it's Jennifer. And she goes, I'm sorry. I'm not going to beat around the bush anymore. I just want to hire you. And I went, well, we need to talk about money. You want to meet again? Because obviously we have conversations. And so I did go back to the hotel and we met for a cocktail and negotiated everything out, hired me on the spot, went 2 weeks later, went into Sebastian, the big pyramid building, on DeSoto, that iconic building. I walked in and I just felt like everything was perfect in my life. I was right where I was supposed to be. I was with my tribe. You
Uh,
could feel the energy in that space, the creativity. That was the beginning. And then I met John Sebastian. When I walked in, someone introduced me to him. This is John Sebastian. And he said, welcome. And then he walked out the door, and the person that was giving me the tour said, well, this is their last day. And I went, what? I just got hired by the most iconic brand owned by Jerry Cosenza and John Sebastian, and he's leaving? Well, Wella had purchased them, so they had stayed a year.
oh,
And yeah, it just blew me away. But it was still Sebastian for I think a good 5 years in that transition. It still felt like the stories and because they're storytellers.
mhm.
Every hair care product came out of a story.
A
They
story,
didn't
story from something that somebody needed, correct?
yeah, like think about if you remember the product Wet. It was a big product in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
You put it
They're
in your
really
hair, it made
smart.
your hair wet.
Okay.
I mean, for that time, that was like a
Now
no.
it's coming back. That's the craziest thing. I
And
just
that was a story. That was Jerry meeting her chemist and John for dinner somewhere in Beverly Hills. She got stuck in a rainstorm, went into the bathroom, just did like this with her hair and went to the table and they went, "Wow, your hair that's interesting. What's in your hair?" She goes, "It's wet." It's like they call it a brainstorm in a rainstorm.
I love it. And
That's
now
how that
it's coming back too, because Demi Moore just walked Gucci with that hairdo of like that wet hair, which
yeah.
I don't know if I could carry that off, but I love that
Yeah.
it makes it so fun.
And Demi Moore just signed on with Kerastase, which we are a Kerastase salon, and she's the brand icon of our new Chronology East collection.
Oh, I mean, I'm obsessed with her.
Cool. Yeah. So that was, hair was I loved that job. I loved that job. I was living in Paso at the time. I drove to LA. If there was a meeting, I had to be there at 8. I'd leave at 4. I never complained about anything. I was probably the oldest sales consultant out of all the girls. Like they were in their 20s. I was 45, 46 when I got hired, maybe somewhere in there. And
Wow.
I was just fired up.
And this is after you're married, you've had
Mhm.
kids. This is
Yeah.
your second swing of
Yeah, my kids are, like in their teens. My kids are 5 years apart, so I think my daughter was probably, I don't know. We were talking about age, because
yeah.
I know we'll get to that. I forget how old I am. I forget how old I was when I did things, but I do remember how old I was when I went to work for Sebastian because I really kept a lot of those women together because they were going to leave. There was transition and they were complaining about this and complaining about that. And I was the voice of reason. Like, why don't we wait? Why don't we wait and see what happens? Because something could evolve out of it. Like when they would change the commission structure. And I said, well, let's just wait. Like, let's write a letter, but let's wait and see what happens, see if they listen to us. And they did. They did
Wow.
listen to us and they changed the structure back. And I think I taught them a little bit about just not running right away, you
Yeah.
know.
I think a lot of people, that's the first things change and it's
Yeah,
like, that's it, I'm done. And like,
yeah,
as opposed to like, well, what can I
yeah.
do to possibly change what's
Because
happening?
all you can do is try. You can at least get the conversation going. You can disagree with it. And someone, that book, somebody moved my cheese, like someone moved your cheese. You're like, where's my cheese? You've got to think out of the box. You just have to.
So you were
Yeah.
there at 45. How long were you
So
with?
I was there 6.5 years. So here's what happened. They were opening grand salons at the time, Sebastian grand salons, and those were kind of similar. If you remember, it's been a long time, and younger people today don't really know what that is, but it was kind of like an Aveda concept. You walk in, it's all Sebastian and makeup, and Truco makeup was huge then. I mean, it was just it was the best. As a sales rep, when you walked into a salon going, "Hi, I'm Jackie, I'm with Sebastian," they loved you. They were like, "Oh, what does she have?" It wasn't like it is today. Somebody walks in, you're just like, "Oh, another rep."
Yeah.
That's peddling something. It was so different, but it was really cool because everybody kind of liked you. So even if you were cold calling,
Yeah.
they were kind of excited, like to see you, as a rep. And so I had a grand salon that they told me in Atascadero. And if you know this area,
Mm.
Tascadero is like, in my brain, was like, oh my God, a Tascadero. There's no way. There's like a hip, fashionable grand salon, but it was my salon. So I learned to manage that. And it was different than any other salons. They really had business, you know, acumen, and the owner, everything was about retail and education. And it was just like the best salon ever. So, long story short, the owner was getting married and she was going to sell it. And I thought, oh my God, I make my most money from this salon. That I've got to help her find an owner. So, because I was in real estate for a short time, I had a little bit of background. So I'm like trying to find someone to buy it. Like I'm trying to sell it. And one morning I just woke up as clear as a bell and said, why don't I buy it?
Hmm.
And I never, ever, ever would have ever wanted to be a salon owner
No,
because it's not easy.
I can imagine. Well,
It,
I mean, it's a lot of facets.
it's not easy, but my daughter, Cinnamon, had just had her first baby. And I thought, the company, I travel a lot and I kind of want to be around my grandson and it'd be kind of cool. I know the salon, I know the numbers, I know what they do, I know the people. And so I bought it
Like,
and
how
had it
did
for
you get
seven.
capital for that?
Hmm?
How did you raise capital for that?
Oh, I didn't. You couldn't get a loan for a salon back then. I mean, and the fact that I was a woman too, and the way that they look at the salon industry. And I did write a business plan and I did present it to my bank. And I can't remember what they told me. They were actually really nice. They just said, we just don't loan on salons. And I can understand why. I was a rep. I mean, I was calling on all these salons that just their business, they just didn't get it. They were just, doing hair and
It's very
barely paying the
loosey-goosey.
bills.
Yeah, I think it's very loosey-goosey of, it seems
It
like
was.
kind of like you make your own schedule for a lot of
Yeah.
the
Yeah. 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 No structure.
yeah. And
But
even now with the solas, is it solas where it's like
yeah.
big building and it's inside, it's all these different
Yeah.
separately and where I
Yeah.
guess that's more you're running your own business.
So what's so different too is the way that we do things is, obviously we have an umbrella business and everybody does lease space from me. The stylists now have been with me for a long time. I mean, my daughter works with us.
Mm.
Her ex-husband works with us. Um, I mean, and they get along and everything's fine. And stylists just want to work there because it's a great working environment. It feels like you're coming into a space where maybe it's employee base. You don't feel like everybody knows what the drill is. Everybody's professional. Everybody has a way of doing things. I've been able to kind of capture that feeling without me telling them really what to do, like in an employee type situation.
So you go in, you purchase it, and now you have all these employees looking at you, kind of like, I'm guessing when you got to Sebastian and they were like, well, this is their last day, and here's this new person, and
Well,
how
I knew everybody.
you knew
So
every
I wasn't the new person. So I was their sales rep. And when you were repping a Sebastian Grand Salon, it was a program. I was there all day. It
oh,
wasn't like a rep that comes in and how are you doing and then bye. No, we had relationships. So I knew everybody well. So they were so ecstatic that I bought it. So it was like family, you know.
now you've taken it over, and what
Take
were
it over.
some of the first changes, or when did you start to
Yeah.
implement change?
I mean, the first change was kind of building out, changing the stations, upgrading the chairs. It was in a strip mall. Like like not my favorite, but it was just a great group of people that we sold a wonderful product and got to go to all these education events, and it was fun. It was actually fun. So did all those changes, did as many changes as I could. I mean, we had 5 manicurists in that salon,
Wow.
a massage therapist, a clinician, 12 stations. I mean, it for a small space, like less than 3,000 square feet, it was hopping, like hopping. We did paper books back then. So that was kind of that for like 6, 7 years. I started to get uncomfortable around the last two, I'm going to say the last 3 years. And I was like, this just isn't me. This isn't my space. I didn't create it. And I knew I was going to move. So Atascadero is about 15 miles from Paso, and I live in Paso. And I started looking for spaces, and I thought I'm gonna make a change. And I know I'm not going to bring everybody with me because everybody's not going to get my vision of how I want to change things, because it wouldn't have been the people. I wouldn't have hired all of those people. A lot of old way of thinking, and just they didn't want to change. And so when I found my space in Paso and knew we were going to move, I had a 2-day retreat at my home. And one of my daughter's best friends, Felina Hansen, who at the time was a professor at, I think, San Diego State, and then she had her own business. She came in and just did a whole, like, just a 2-day retreat on people understanding what the vision is, doing like vision boards, and everybody came. And I just knew after those 2 days that I was not going to invite at least 6 people to the new space. And I thought, oh, how am I going to do this? I mean, I told everyone everyone's going to get re-interviewed. I mean, it was scary for them. It was like, and scary for me.
With the six that you already had in mind, why? Because I love hearing this part of like
Yeah.
the employee part of it is why did you get that feeling?
Well, I
From
just knew from knowing the other stylists that were in the space, I knew they didn't want the change.
Mm,
I mean, when you get to know people on a very close level, like you just know. And the ones that were excited were so excited. I mean, you could just tell. And the interesting thing that happened was when you get really straight with who you are. When I bought the salon, I bought a salon already done. So I came in as the owner, and to make changes right away, it didn't happen right away. It just was slow changes.
yeah.
So when I was making, this change, the people that were just excited about it, I knew. So after that retreat, we get back, and within a week, I got notices that they were leaving. And I was so glad.
So much easier.
Oh, thank God. It's just, but it was good because when you know who you are and someone's not a good fit anymore, it's just that it's not a good fit. I
Yeah.
still like all those people. I still see them. It was not, you can't push someone up a hill if they don't want to go, and
Yep.
it's okay. So we opened with not a full salon, but that's okay. We grew and people recruited and we found the right fits. And I mean the right fit.
I
We just,
think I think a lot of people, when it comes to employees, are willing to kind of like accept sometimes that they may not be that excited, or and I don't think, I love that you recognized it, because what happens is, and I don't think everyone always realizes, that when you start making changes, like, believe me, I dealt with this at Lucy's when I first came in, and it's like,
oh, yeah.
a lot of the changes I was making didn't really affect the salespeople, my reps, like, or it's like, and I know I'm not the most popular person on the block right now, but now they're starting to kind of see my vision. But that pushback, and what happens is the eye rolling and the little bits of gossipy, like, I don't like this, becomes almost cancerous. And
Yes,
you
yes.
don't nip it in the bud, for those of you listening,
True.
it's like, and you have,
Yes.
think all of the owners listening to this, if you have one of those people, I'm sure you're right now like, oh, I know. But it's honestly like, if you don't cut the fat, and
Yep.
you take a risk of that person poisoning all
It's
these
true.
people who are all excited. And
It's true. I mean, you couldn't have said it more perfect. And it's not to have a fearful feeling. When I think about, right now we really need to fill two chairs. We had some movement during the pandemic, and that was fine. It was all for good reason. So because I just don't like bringing anybody in, it has to be the right fit. It has to be everybody, all of our stylists, our 9 stylists really need to buy into it. They're all going to be working together in this, in a kitchen and working together, and how they complement each other. I really give them a lot of credit for like who they are. But at some point I'm going to have to bring in 2 more stylists, and it's a hard point for me because I'm losing $30,000 a year by not having those 2 people, which is a big chunk of change. I've adapted and, used my profits from my store to compensate for that, just to kind of get through, because I won't just put a butt in a seat.
which is great.
I did hire one person. Oh my God, I that didn't work out. And that I fired her very, very quickly. And it was unfortunate, but she just had some problems. And, people are on their best behavior when they're interviewing. And
Oh, that is one part of the job I do not miss at all.
I know.
Oh my God. And
Yeah.
even now, dealing, like,
Yeah.
I I have to deal with the employees, because it's part of my job, is training and development of
Yeah.
anybody that we're working with. And
Yeah.
but it is, from being, maybe it's an age thing, maybe it's like, I've been around the block. It's like, my patience,
Have the experience and you've done that. So,
well, my patience is so, I have a good amount of patience
yeah.
until I don't. And then once I don't, it's not good. So I totally understand, like, not, and just putting somebody in a chair, filling a space, is not doing
Never
any
do that.
good.
It's really funny. I've had stylists call or come in, and it's really interesting. And the mindset, and they'll come in and say, "Hi, I'm looking for a chair. What's your rent?" And I'm like, "Oh gosh, I would never tell you that. Really? Would you walk in for a job interview and say, 'Hi, what do you pay?'"
Yeah,
But it's
people
just that
do.
mindset of, "Yeah, we're not there yet."
Yeah.
And if that's what you're going to have to show something that you did some research about us or have some questions, or just come in and say hi. Like, we are going to be hiring a new team member for the front of the house, with my sales team. And I think the Indeed ad just went out today. So it's been a while since we've had to hire, but I'm looking at it as, ooh, this is so much fun. This is so good because we're only looking for the right person.
Yeah, now you know. And I think also there's something with when you turn a certain age, like before, I used to, and I don't know if the same for you, is like when I was younger, I was kind of this passive aggressive way of saying things. And now, I mean, the gift of 50s was like,
It's so true.
why
Yeah,
are you like, just say it the way it is.
it's
There's no, if they don't like it or it's not for them and you're trying to make it acceptable for them,
so true.
it's not doing you or them any good. It's like, and now I think, like I said, like the gift of 50s was honestly like just saying the way it is and not sugarcoating anything. And it's
It's
like,
true.
it's,
Yeah, it's so much easier that way. And I think when I think about when I get in difficult situations, it doesn't happen too often, but it happens, and I get caught up in knowing that I'm starting to take something personal. I go back to like my favorite book, which is The Four Agreements. And if
mm,
and if you've never read it or you don't have that as like just a little, it's a small book and it is the best book ever. It just brings you right back to your center and you just go, oh, why did I take that personally? That was not about me. Okay. Be impeccable with your word. Don't gossip. I mean, it's just, there's little agreements that you just make with yourself that you just go, oh, I need to reel myself back in. I'm getting gossipy or
well, I love that you kept yourself in check because I think a
yeah.
lot of people also don't. It's like a rule applies to everybody else but yourself. I think
Well,
that that's good.
you have to practice what you preach, and that's hard, and not preaching. I just mean it's all life is a journey and I'm still learning. I think, during the pandemic when we finally moved the salon as a salon entity, we still had retail. Retail was very important, even though, the part of my business, that structure is, we're taking in rent, of course. Stylists are paying weekly to be there, and that is part of the revenue of my business plan. But the other part, it's I couldn't survive if that's all I had.
Yeah,
If we just had a storefront with a salon and maybe one esthetician like we do have, and another way to make some revenue, it that's not enough. And
yeah.
even the retail in the hair products and the skin products, that wasn't enough to be
So take me
profitable.
through you've now moved into your new space. Did you
Mhm.
do any upgrades, demo, build outs
Oh,
before
we
you?
built out the entire space. So we took on a huge, kind of like a warehouse. Um, we took on two spaces. It was 2009, so 2008, I signed the lease. So you remember the economy in 2008? It was tanking fast. It was unbelievable. The timing just was what it was. Um, we leased the space. I was able to negotiate a really good lease because I think my background in real estate kind of helped me a little bit. Like I wasn't afraid, and I just know this is what I want, and I'm going to get it. Like we're going to come to terms with it's going to be good for you and good for me. And I always go into a negotiation like that. It's what is my end goal is to get this lease for this amount of money. And if I'm just a little bit off, then I'm fine. But at least I know exactly what I want. So when we leased it, we did a full build out, full. I worked with Takara Belmont on the design. I purchased all new equipment. It was all new.
Wow.
Luckily, my husband was in building. He worked all day, though. I mean, he worked, and his brother was a plumber, and they basically kind of did everything. And then we just hired out, framers and all of that. My daughter Cinnamon, who's built like 3 or 4 different houses, I've never built a house, so she helped me so much on everything.
Wow,
Like,
that's great.
I don't want to tell you where the plug goes. When someone comes in and goes, "Where do you want your plugs?" I'm just like deer in the headlights. I'm like, I don't know. Where do you put them? On the guy, when you don't have experience in something, I'm really good to step aside and say, we need somebody experienced. So my daughter Cinnamon was a great help with all the creative stuff. So we built it all out, and it was hard, even though we knew we were bringing all of our stylists over with clients, so we had a ready-made business. It wasn't like we're starting from scratch, opening up in an area where nobody knows us. That was good in a way because we knew we had those people were coming. People don't leave their hairdresser, not usually.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're not making them happy. But it was really hard, and I had a line of credit through my home. That's kind of like how we did it, because just getting funding was just forget about it. That just wasn't going to happen. Um, and then I don't know what happened. One day I went to write a check and they said, "Oh, I think I had like $50,000 in my account." And they said, "Oh, the check bounced." And I'm like, "No, there's money in there. I know there's money." Well, that was when it was tied to the value of your home. And homes were like, it was going down, down, down. Values were just tanking. And I wasn't paying attention because I'm like, working in the salon during the day, building this out over here. And oh my God. So we were $80,000, $90,000 short of finishing this project.
Oh my God.
What am I going to do? So I don't know. I don't know. I remember that moment and I thought, okay, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. And I just went to my local bank, who I've been banking for years, sat down with them, told them where I was at, explained to them the revenue. Luckily, from coming from a grand salon, I could show them revenue, solid revenue. We were on a computer at that point, just with that. Um, they gave me a loan for like $125,000.
Wow. Congrats.
I I was shocked.
Well, obviously they knew where to
But
put.
that was a relationship too, having good, strong relationships with your banks and your, things like that. So I think it was on me, and knowing that, I was going to make it work. I'd
Yeah.
made it work. So that's where we recovered.
So now you're moving forward.
Yeah.
You're how tell me about how when it came to planning the space, tell me about how the
Yeah.
space is laid out, and then we'll go
Yeah.
to what you're.
So the space is really interesting. So when you walk in the front door, it is a storefront. It is, store. So at that point in 2009, we just had, full wall of hair care, skin care, on both sides. And then we had small tables with just gifty things, just, earrings and simple stuff. And then you walk and then there's just this big front desk. So you walk in and it's like you're being greeted. But then you walk through the hallway, and I actually designed curved hallways. The salon is way in the back.
Mm.
So what was so different when we opened was we're used to being the mix of it, being at a front desk, and then the stylists are like all behind us, and there's noise and chaos going on. Well, it was like dead silence for me in the front. And I didn't really think about it at the time. I knew there was going to be a growth pattern, but in my mind, my emotional mind, I didn't go, I wonder how I'm going to handle this quiet until we
Well, it's
build up.
interesting you say that because that the Fred Siegel has a phrase, energy creates energy. And there had to have been something about that energy of everything going on behind you. And you're
Oh,
still there now,
every,
you've taken it away,
everything.
this
It
weird silence.
took everything. And so that took some getting used to. And then we had to like really adapt. And then my goal really for the space was to build out more of a beauty space, more beauty products. And it didn't turn out that I did that. So it was an organic process where I was looking for clothes in my area. I could never find anything. The boutiques just, I just like good casual, good cotton sweaters, good, just something that looks cute, maybe a jacket or a blazer. There was nowhere to shop. And so I just slowly started with t-shirts, smaller brands, easy things, not full on clothes. I could never dress anyone. And then just building out the jewelry and gift, candles, things like that. So we really started like that for years. And when the clothing kind of caught on and people were like, oh my God, can you get more of this? Or it was really more, it wasn't like I took another loan and just went all in, with a couple $100,000. It was slow, 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 slow. And so that was 2009. By 2013, we were starting to get there. And it was still, I got to learn slowly about buying. Even though I've worked in retail stores And I did have one job where we did have a buying agent in LA. I worked for this lady in Pismo Beach, and she wanted to switch over her store, and she made me the manager. I really didn't have management experience at that time. And so she hired a buyer. And
Mm.
so I go into LA, and the buying office, this was really, really weird.
Flying office was it? It'd be interesting to hear.
I can't remember the name of it, but um, Magic Johnson's wife, Cookie, had
Uh-huh.
just moved to LA. She was my buying agent. She was
Oh,
working for these two little old ladies that were like smoking on her all day. I remember going in there and going, oh my God. I didn't really know who she was. And then she said who she was and why she, because, I'm always asking why you came out here. And she said, well, my boyfriend, my fiance is Magic Johnson. And I went, oh my God, that's so cool. And she was just lovely. And she taught me how to buy.
wow, that's awesome. It's was it in the California Market Center or was it in the
Yep.
so then it must have been Sherry Drobnik and God, I forget her partner's name. Two
Oh,
little tiny Jewish ladies.
yeah, that's who it was.
And Sherry's, I think both of them are still around.
Oh, you're kidding.
I think
Oh my gosh.
Sherry pulled out and created her own brand, and
Okay.
she's got to be like 80 now. And
Well,
then her
they
partner
seem
came,
like they were old then. Like
yeah,
I don't remember them
yeah,
feeling young.
look much different. I mean, Sherry looks amazing, but it's like
That's so cool.
I've known her since I was
Oh
buying.
my gosh.
'Cause they would do all these big fashion shows, and I never needed to go to a buying agency, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
always fascinating to me. And I kind of, for a nanosecond, wanted to work there, and then I realized like those poor girls that work under them were so schlepped that they.
I don't think Cookie lasted all that long. I know she had graduated college with her degree, because I mean she did get into fashion for quite a while. I think she might still be have a brand. I'm not sure.
I mean, God knows she doesn't need to, but I think so.
No, but I mean, yeah, yeah. But what a nice person she was. I mean, I'm telling you, just like heaven, like
Yeah,
just a beautiful person
I
from
I
the minute I met her.
I
Yeah,
love them. Jerry Buss and the coach
yeah.
was my favorite. Like we'd have like all the guys come
Oh,
in.
yeah, of course you did. Of course you did. So that was like my little insight to buying. That was pretty much it. So when I started buying for the store, other than having background as being a rep, and I know I can get what I want to get, and working for Sebastian, I know on the other end, as a rep, somebody could get a lot out of me if they just asked me, but most clients don't. So, you're trying to help them the best you can. But if someone sat at the table and said, "This is what we need," I would figure out how to get it for them. So that was learning how to do all that was challenging, but made a lot of mistakes.
Let me ask you a question because there's a lot about apparel that's very different than gifts,
Oh,
sizing in particular. So I'm
oh,
guessing Cookie kind of took you through, especially when it comes to denim. I mean, it's no longer SML XL. It's like now like
oh.
23 to
Well,
30.
and that was so long ago. It's hard for me even to remember that little segment in my life. I've had so many little segments. That was a small amount of time. It wasn't like I was there for years. It
Well,
was,
fast forward to your business. I mean, it's
yeah.
like it buying apparel is very different. And one of the questions I always think about is like when I think of some of the brands that I love
Yeah.
that I wanted to bring into, say, Burt's Pharmacy, which was a pharmacy,
Mhm.
or a store that I ended up being a partner in called Sweet XO, which was ice cream and yogurt. And we were doing a solid apparel was our number one.
Yeah.
And I remember going to some of these lines and like the girls like, yeah, ice cream. I don't think so. So I can imagine you got a little bit of pushback, like how, and being who
Yeah.
you are, how did you
Yeah.
handle some of these conversations if it was like, I don't think a salon's for us?
Yeah. I definitely had a lot of that for sure. There's no doubt because we were called at that time Salon Roux. And then as we were building out, the store was growing. I changed the store boutique name to the Ruby, Rouxbe, as like a little offshoot Ruby. I don't know why I did that, but I had to do something to not say Salon Rue.
So you did that. You had that much pushback that you knew that.
I just know the pushback. was really from me, and my experiences. Like I would meet someone who came in and she'd say, "Oh, my friend bought something here, but she told me it was from a salon, so I just couldn't believe her."
Oh,
So I think the customer doesn't want to say, "Oh, I got this at Salon Roux, this gorgeous $300 outfit." I mean, nobody wants to say that. They want to say a name. So the rebranding took a while, and that started actually it started a year before a pandemic, but it kicked in major at the pandemic time because it was time for change. But I think that was, yeah. So that was kind of like all those hairy situations with pandemic stories.
oh
Crazy.
God, I'm not allowed to talk about
I
pandemic.
know. I mean, it's almost like, did it really happen? I really
No.
am. I'm great. I'm grateful in a way, as hard as it was. I learned a lot, and I would have never found Management One. I would have never got my shit together with my buying, with my open to buy, with my POS. I just didn't realize during that time. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I discovered podcasts during that time. I didn't know there were people out there that would help you.
Yeah.
I
It's
had no idea.
so I want to go back to the man because it's funny because I just interviewed Margot from Project Retail
Oh
and
yeah.
she's created her own. They're actually launching next week. She's created her own platform for a lot of people that have jumped ship from Management One.
Yeah.
So now, okay, so going
Yeah.
back to you've got your store and now you're bringing in bigger brands. How in comparison to both the walls filled with beauty and hair products, how did that start to look as far as percentages of apparel to now that what was your core product?
Yeah, I mean, it was a slow process. And I mean, now I'd have to say my number one selling brand still right now is Kerastase. I mean, as a brand,
And
but
do you,
overall, all the clothing, I've got many, many brands. So when
so
I think percentage, I mean, we do, oh gosh, I ran my numbers the other day and my brain is like not kicking in. Like percentage wise, I mean, my whole store is full of clothing. I mean, it's well strategically placed, um, looks really pretty because obviously I have a really great merchandiser that, got to the point with her baby, her infant that's grown up a little bit now. She could come back and do more work for us, and I absolutely love her. And she's very anthropology centric and with her own flair on things. So she's managed to put things that look really well together because our beauty and skincare, all of that, it's up against a wall,
as I was going to ask,
kind of like anchors where everything's internal and it does flow fairly well. I mean, it does flow fairly well. But I mean, now we're at the point where we're a full boutique.
yeah,
Other than we do not carry shoes, I will never carry shoes. I will send people to the shoe store downtown because I love working with all of my little stores. And if we don't have something for someone, a guest, we will send them to another store.
yeah.
Uh, I wish more people would do that because it would just be so wonderful. Any of you store owners that are out there, don't be afraid of somebody else down the street that just opened up a boutique. Just find out how you can complement each other, because the customer is really going to say thank you so much for thinking about me and sending me somewhere.
Yeah, well, I think also, Boutique Hub, Ashley, who heads up the Boutique Hub, her whole
Oh
thing,
yeah,
community over competition.
absolutely.
I think a lot our industry is very competitive, like everyone, and I know I am super competitive. I'll be the first to admit,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
also know
yeah,
that you have strength in numbers, and
yeah.
people are going to be would rather come down to a full downtown that there's a lot of everything and all the community kind of works together, and versus
True.
you're the only really cool store, and the rest of it's like so
Yeah.
people. It's like you want people to come down to see all of you because
I mean,
that's
I think just know who you are, and don't, there are some stores that just don't get that. They want it all and they want to own their brands really tight, like a vengeance. That's fine if that's who you are, but the customer is going to feel that.
yeah.
The
I always
customer is going to feel it.
the community. I mean, it's like downtown
Yeah.
Hermosa Beach. What I love is like
Yeah.
downtown Hermosa Beach is very small and curious.
Yeah.
They have X, Y, and Z brands. Gumtree has X, Y, and Z brands. There's a couple of stores, but the three of them all work together and they all have different items and they all refer to each other. Like, I don't have that. This store has it. And that's what the customers feel. It's not like, your person asked, do you have this? And it's left as an open-ended question. It's like, oh, no, we don't.
Oh, yeah. The worst thing that's the worst thing you could
Anything
say.
else?
Gosh. Oh, gosh. I mean, I could teach that all day long. I always used to say, maybe I should just be a teacher and just travel around and teach people, like, what are you doing? But
It's a hard thing to get out of. I think it's just human nature is that's
yeah,
I don't think people realize that again, there's strength in numbers and everyone
yeah,
has a
yeah.
place and you want a strong downtown. You don't want to be the only
You
great
don't.
store because that doesn't serve the community or your downtown.
Oh, and everybody's different. And I get really good comments from people that drive up from San Luis Obispo, and kind of, all over, and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, I shop in your store and I live in San Luis because you're like the best store." And I know it's because it fits them.
Mhm.
It's a good fit. They like what I buy. It fits with them. I'm really intuitive to, luckily in the beginning, I knew my customers because they were all coming in and getting their hair done. So those were only my customers at the time.
So now, which brands do you carry? Which are some of your top brands that you carry? Because you have a deep apparel.
We do now. Yeah. I mean, we just did our for 2025, we just looked at all of our brands just to see kind of where they rated. And I wasn't surprised that Dylan came out on top. And as far as like apparel, and then It As Well, which is a Los Angeles brand, cotton gauzes, beautiful brand. Bella Doll, Lily Pilly was way up there, and that's an Australian brand, linen, because we do a lot of linen. Bobby Rails, we're doing a coat. Oh, super excited about that. Wooden ships, if you're familiar with wooden ships. We do wooden ships every year, mostly summer. We just find out which brands are good for what seasons. Dylan seems to be good all seasons, and that's probably why we started with them. But they've changed a little bit too. And as we've grown and expanded other brands, we need more money for those brands too. So we're really trying to balance, how you balance all that out. You want a variety, but you just don't want to shoot yourself in the foot. You want to make sure you've got that balance of those styles that sell through really
Yeah.
easily.
It,
You know.
it's so that with management one, and
Yeah.
I love the fact that you use the word open to buy, and I love that
Yeah.
you go by your report. So when
Yeah.
did you bring in that? It was post COVID. So when did you bring in management one, and how? For those people who, it's still surprising me. There's still a handful of people that don't know what an open buy is, and there's a lot of people that don't
Yeah.
go by their reports. So
Well, luckily, I probably wouldn't have known what an open to buy was if I wouldn't have had that experience with Cookie, with the buying company, because that owner sent me there to learn, and that was a good experience. And I was doing my own open to buy before I had the software, but I was doing it like, what did we sell last season at this month? I didn't have anything delineated out as far as like tops, bottoms, tanks. I was just under clothes.
yeah.
That's so don't feel bad if you're out there and you don't know, because not being able to ask that question and feel fearful that someone's going to think you're stupid, you're not stupid. It's
No, I
just
think it intimidates people, to be
you
honest.
don't know what you don't know until you know it. I mean, it's just ask questions. So when pandemic hit, of course I was like, we're closed immediately, because we're a salon. So we were closed. And the first thing that I read or I heard or someone on a podcast said, you need to measure everything out. You need to measure where you're at. Because I had to go in and talk to my landlord, everything. The stylist couldn't pay their rent. I mean, my everything stopped, as with everybody. It was just not for every business, but for my business, it stopped. Every bit of money coming in. So when that happened, I had to really figure out, what I was going to do. And I couldn't measure anything because we were still selling clothing on Mind Body software, which was my hair care.
Oh my gosh.
We weren't even in a system. And I thought, oh my God. And I remember listening to one person, I wish I could think of his name, Dan Joblins.
Yeah, we've had Dan.
Dan, I found his website somehow. I was watching some of his videos. And I'm like, oh man, he's saying some stuff. I have no idea. And then his little video led me to somehow down the road, Management One. I don't know how I found them, had an interview, talked to them, and I couldn't afford a penny at the time. But I said, I'm going to find it and I'm going to hire them because I don't know what the hell to do. I can't, I'm not going to close. I'm not going to give up. But it was clear that I did not have systems in place,
Yeah.
and that was a wake up call for me because we were doing, not a lot. We were doing a couple $1,000s a year. So, I mean, it's not like we weren't doing anything, probably more than that, but it,
A couple $1,000 a month, not a year.
like a year, like in clothing. We weren't doing like a huge amount at that. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. We were doing, because really, we're really at like 495. I mean, I haven't broken that, 500,000 mark yet. Because we've just been so slow. It's like I'm not in debt.
Yeah.
I have money in the bank.
And management, that one is like the one great thing. And I keep trying to tell people that having an open to buy person,
Yes.
guides you to
Yes.
just the right way versus yes, you can buy what you want, but I
Mhm.
think that if you're
Yeah.
listening to what they're telling you to do, and it's all based on your sales, it's based on
Yeah.
your inventory, it's based on
Everything.
everything that you pay
Your
out.
markdowns, how did that brand do? Why, when it's hard to look at all the reports yourself. I mean, when they shoot over the big report, I have a hard time looking at it. It's just a lot of stuff I really don't want to look at. I just want to look at the important stuff. And I know that she'll break it down for me. If I have questions, then I can that's what I'm paying them for. I'm not being stupid. I'm just like, I might as well use the service to the best of my ability because, it's hard for me to see those small reports. But they're really, it's vitally important. If you're going to be profitable, it really doesn't matter how much you do. Like I would always tell her, I just want to be $1 million store. She goes, yeah, but you have to be profitable.
Yeah.
Like just like you have to be profitable. So where your margins are, what are you marking it up? Why was it marked down so much? Or what happened? Like I've learned from those reports, I have learned how to be a better buyer
I
because I'm listening, I'm watching, I'm going, I even tell my manager sometimes, don't let me reorder that. You know how I get, we sell it through and I go, I'm going to do a reorder. Just stop me, overpower me. Just don't let me do it because I'm going to do it. And I'm doing it now with Lily Pilly. It's like, oh my God, we're selling out too many of those tops. I've got to get some more in. And she's like, yeah, let's
Yeah,
not.
and it's going you're without reporting and without, and not that everyone needs an open to buy person, but at least going by your reports and understanding your numbers is huge.
That's
So
it.
I love that you kind of touched on that
Yeah.
because Margot is with us next week, I believe.
Oh, I'll have to watch.
Her interview yesterday, and
Yeah,
I'm
great.
so much more that goes into, and especially when you have a business that has
Yeah.
multiple businesses under one way. So, which brings me to the thing of like, now you have, fast forward to now you
Yeah.
have multiple services under one
Mhm.
roof. How are you managing the apparel? Yeah, the salon. You're not doing the cuts like you, but so I'm
No.
assuming you're managing the team, or
Yeah.
it talks a little bit how the management of like all these facets goes.
Well, I have a really well-oiled machine, number one. Um, all of the stylists are amazing. They're all family, obviously. We're just a big family. We really communicate what's going on. My esthetician, who is an employee, she's been with me almost 19 years. She is just a team player, like has my back all the time. My front team, my managing director, Katie, is amazing. She was promoted last year. She does a lot of the things that I'm just teaching her how to do, what I can't do everything anymore. And then there's Janice, who is super amazing. She's worked with me on and off, but she is our chief happiness officer, and she has a real gift with people. So when you think about HR, she just connects with everyone on a different level, and she'll let me know if someone's going through a hard time or difficulty. She'll say, I talked to, I think you could reach out to them because I can't always see it. So
Yeah.
she just always has my back in that sense, and she's so good at it. Like, she just always knows the pulse of something's going on. Okay, what's the vibe we're feeling? Does someone need to talk to us? And then really it's just I my brain never sleeps. I mean, I am so energized all the time. I woke up at 4 this morning and I was just thinking about an event that we're planning because Rails did a collab with some fashion items with Giada De Laurentiis. So her company Giadzi, if you follow her. And so it's like super exciting. They did all this, last year, put all this money into it with social. And that's all I was thinking about at 4 o'clock this morning was like, you wouldn't want to jump in my brain, just like I probably wouldn't want to jump in your brain.
I think all of us, though, all have that where you are a multitasking,
Constantly. Yeah.
where you're excited about what you're
Yeah.
doing, you love
Yeah.
what you're doing, and that's a lot of what keeps
Yeah.
me up at night is the excitement of what
Yeah.
is going down the
But
pipeline.
I think like my team and Dolly, I didn't mention Dolly. She's another one of my employees that's just adorable, amazing, does such a great job on the floor. One thing that I do, I share as far as sales, I share with my team where we are and where we need to be.
I love
They
that.
know in the beginning of the month what our goal is, and they know the category goals. I'm not afraid to share that with them.
Even the hairdressers,
No, not the hairdressers.
your management team, your
It's in
team.
the clothing gift in that department. Yeah. The
So
hairdressers are so much into their own, like they don't, they're into building their own business.
you don't have to manage them or anything. Like, do you have a GM that manages the whole operation? Like, four salon people didn't show up today. Like, who manages that? Or
Well, that me, but I mean, nothing, nobody ever not shows up. They
I,
pay rent. I mean, it's their business. If they don't want to come in for 5 days, we don't book their appointments anymore. We stopped doing that at pandemic time and for good reason.
yeah,
Number one, the law changed, and I really am not supposed to be booking that's not what I'm supposed to be doing legally. If they're not really independent contractors, they're independent owners. Like I'm not hiring them as a contractor.
they
Uh,
kind of run their own show
they
in
pay
their own station.
They have their own stations. Yeah, but they're very respectful. I mean, you wouldn't know it. I mean, they're just so respectful and they're all for Rue. They're team Rue. I mean, even though they're doing their own thing, it's really quite an interesting thing. It is a well-oiled machine, not that we don't have moments where we need to kind of reel it in and have a talk or see what's going on with someone. I'm just a present owner. And if something's going on, everybody knows gossip is just not tolerated under that roof. And if I hear something going on somewhere, I really probably will say something. I'll give them the 4 agreements. I mean, they
I was
hate
just
to hear
saying
me.
that required reading.
It's just like, um, oh, when I hire people, that's the first book I give them when I hire them.
That I
I
love that.
mean, it's
Anthro
their
has our
choice. They can read it or not read it, but
yeah, but it's a great, I mean, I think it's a great way of employees or team members,
yeah.
employees, whatever it is, to understand the philosophy of the owner or the philosophy of just good business. But it's not a book that people I think just automatically gravitate to and pick up themselves. But it's like it's I love that it's like,
No, no, but when you need it,
yeah,
and you're not always sure when you need it, I sometimes will just pick it up and go, "Oh, I didn't know I needed that, but man, did I need to read that again."
yeah.
Whew,
I
that's
might
just
have to pull mine
yeah.
out. So got it here somewhere. Um, I I've had you for, we're going on past an hour, so I don't want to keep
Okay.
it terribly long. But I do want to mention this because we mentioned it on the calls, like, and we talked a little bit about our age in the beginning.
Yeah,
You,
yeah, I know.
I asked you if it was okay to share. You are 70 years old.
I'm actually 73. I'll be 74 in July.
Is mind blowing for those of you who are not listening and watching. I mean, it is mind blowing. And it's like such a testament to that you love what you do
I
and
do.
take care of yourself in that self-care time.
It's a process. I mean, yeah, I am getting older. My body, you can tell there's things that happen, but you know what? I mean, I can't continue to do the same things I did when I was 30. I have to take care of myself better. I was a bad girl when I was younger. I abused a lot of things, and that's okay. It is who I am today. But, I couldn't do that today. Like, I'm certainly not going to drink two or three or four glasses of wine. That is not happening in my body anymore. It's just not happening. And if it does, it's a moment of, like something happened. I don't know what the heck I was thinking, but I won't do it again.
But with being, because it's like I said, like I just turned 60 and I know there's so many of us that are this age. It's like how, like you are past what you could retire. And it's
And people ask me all the time, when are you going to retire? Well, okay, never.
yeah.
Number one, I don't like that word, but it is a word that we use in our language. Just like I don't like anti-aging. I just don't know why we're anti against, at least getting older to the point where I would never trade back to want to be 20 ever. Would I want a little bit of parts of my body and my boobs? Yeah, of course. But I mean, that's not going to happen. So, like, whatever. I mean, I'm glad that I have the experience and the knowledge and the friendships that I have, and that I've learned so much. But I'm still learning. I
That's
mean, it wasn't just a few years ago. I learned and went to Management One, and they have helped me tremendously with my business. I don't look at it as the end game of I'm going to retire when maybe I'll look at it when I'm 80. I don't know. I'll let you know when I turn 80 what I'm thinking.
what I mean, because it's like I always think like what are some of the changes you've had to make in order to, continue to still go to work at
Yeah.
70 years old? Because it's,
Yeah.
retail is not for the
Don't
life.
go as hard as I used to. I could go do a marathon day and drive to LA and do all my buying and just kick ass and come back. And I don't do that anymore.
It's
I
hard.
get a nice hotel. I stay at the Four Seasons. I mean, I take better care of myself. I'll get a spa treatment. I mean, I used to just go, 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 go. I've learned how to take care of myself. During the week, even when I'm at work, I'll get into the infrared sauna, even if it's for 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't matter. It takes that moment that gives me back my life.
Well, I think that you probably realize at that age that you don't have to push and grind the way you did. And then you can realize you still can get the job done without pulling a 14-hour day,
And you
driving.
can take care of yourself in the midst. And I've learned to hand things over. I was a control freak. I probably still am, but I'm getting way better. And I'm learning how to hand things over and know that I don't have to be the one that does everything. And then also too, my employees understanding that it's okay to make that decision without me.
Love that. I
That's hard.
Yeah, of course it is. But it's like it takes off so much pressure, and
It
doesn't mean
does.
you have to be doing everything yourself and making all the decisions. I mean, Nathan and Co. He has a policy that if something comes up to the register that doesn't have a sticker on it, and you can't find it in the system within a couple minutes, because he's like, you're not going to be at Home Depot, and you're not going to stand there where they sit there and wait.
No.
And he's like, if you can't find it, then make up a price.
Yep. There
Yeah.
you go.
He's
I
like,
agree.
if it's too low, then it's too low.
It is what it is.
Pick up a price. I trust you to make
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
I think giving that,
I like that.
I think giving that support and that I don't even know what you'd say, but I think giving that to your employees is a gift because that only makes them take ownership more.
It's
It's
so
I
true.
have to ask about
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, I love that. I really like them to decide what to do. Whether it's, we get calls in and someone's looking for a hairdresser. Of course, the girls always talk amongst themselves. Who do you think would be good if we had to refer someone? I like them having that conversations, but it is make up your mind. You're there. I trust you. Like I trust you with my business. I tell my manager that all the time. I trust you. Like I would not leave you here for a week or go away if I did not trust you. Like I know you're going to do a great job and you're going to be me or more than me,
I love that.
you know?
That's a great way to end this because
Yeah.
I think that I think everyone, like I said, I think everyone thinks they need to do everything themselves and like same with
Oh,
like taking care of yourself. And it's like you can get it all done. You don't need to grind it out in one 14-hour day.
no.
I'm saying this to myself as well.
Well, I was going to say, if you're in California, I know you won't have time to stop and see me, but I would love to give you some spa treatments if you're in Paso. Take the
I
extra
love
day,
that
Michelle.
area. I love that area so much.
Yeah, it's
It's
nice.
it's and I long for California in that part of California.
Yeah,
It's like it's so near and dear. So I will absolutely because I we will go
yeah,
through. Well, sometimes we'll take the long way home and we'll purpose
yeah.
that area, and I will
Just
absolutely move on
come
that.
by. I will totally hook you up.
Thank you so much
Okay,
for
thank
sharing.
you. It's great. I hope I added something.
Yes, and I think that so many people, it's like, like I said, I knew when I talked to you and we did the pre-call, I knew that I wanted to have you on because it just, you come with a wealth of knowledge and just, an open-mindedness of how to run your business. And it doesn't need to be a certain way. And I
And
love that.
it's always, and I'm going to say anyone out there that, hop on our Instagram, DM me. If you have a question and you're not certain about something, I don't mind anyone reaching out to me. Honestly, I'm all about helping people. That's
Give
it.
everybody your socials and we'll make sure that that's also in the show notes.
Yeah. So Roux Collective _.
And then your Instagram
That's the Instagram. I think it's Roux Collective _. Like
website.
the
Do you want to drop your website?
yeah,
Do you
Roux
think
Collective.
.com?
Yeah, .com. Sorry.
Said it's like pulling strings. What? Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank you, Michelle.